With 450 navigable lakes in Oakland County, even shallow waters can pose life-threatening hazards. 2 men recently drowned, one in White Lake, the other in Springfield Township, prompting an intense response by the Oakland County Sheriff's Marine Division. Here to give us more tips and information from Oakland County's Technical Support Group Specialized Units Patrol Services Division, we have Lieutenant Brian Burwell. Thank you for being here, Lieutenant.
Hey, Kev, how are you, bud?
Doing just fine myself. Unfortunately, talking about some unfortunate news, I should say, but it's something that we should cover. Ultimately, I know we talked about this multiple times, and I hate to sound like a broken record, but some of these things must be reiterated. So with that being said, so many lakes in Oakland County, what unique challenges do you see residents facing around water safety?
You know, anytime, I think one of the biggest challenges we're faced right now is the cuts to the Marine Safety Grant. And those grants affect education. And that's one of the things that the Sheriff's Office is pushing more of, is to get more education out there, motor safety and water safety classes. So, at the Sheriff's Office, we do offer 1 class a month for boating safety, hunting safety, other marine safety courses. But we're really pushing more boating education, boating safety. And that's a challenge for the Sheriff's Office because we have lost a lot of funding from that Marine Safety Grant due to recent cuts from the state and federal levels. But I think anytime you're around water, the dangers present themselves. And, like we've talked about so many times before, that drowning is really a silent type of death. So, oftentimes people find themselves in trouble in the water and people around them do not know. That's why we always encourage people to swim the designated swim area. We always encourage people to swim where lifeguards are present. And certainly if you have any type of young children in the water, put those cell phones down and you pay attention to the children in the water.
No, that's a really good point. And anytime we hear about a drowning, like I said, it's devastating to our community, and we hate to hear about it. And even hearing from higher ups and seeing news of celebrities like Malcolm Jamal Warner recently passing away on a vacation with his family through a drowning in Costa Rica, it just gives us, a note that we really need to be paying attention and be a little bit more aware. Now, despite repeated warnings, many still skip wearing life jackets. So what new strategies, if any, or partnerships is the Sheriff's Office exploring to make wearing these jackets a little bit more sexy?
Well, and one of the things that we're always pushing with life jackets is the importance of them. And, sometimes like with rescue equipment and safety equipment, it's kind of like the spare tire in the car. People are just not thinking about that spare tire in the car until something happens and they need it. About raising awareness, and that's one of the things I'm gonna go back to a lot is this, these cuts in marine funding and how it affects our Marine Safety Grant and the programs we like to teach here at the Sheriff's Office that explain why life jackets are important, and understanding people that they're in the right life jackets, they're properly sized, and they understand why they need to wear those life jackets. And I mean, so many of these tragedies are so avoidable, and often that like a seatbelt in a car, the life jackets don't work if you don't wear them. So you got to wear those life jackets, and even having those throwable devices handy on boat. Boaters, they go out on the lake, it's going to be a great day. And again, we want people to come out on all our waterways and enjoy the activities on the lakes. But people keep those life jackets buried in a cabinet or a cupboard. They don't have easy access to life jackets. They don't have easy access to a throwable device. And then somebody gets in trouble in the water, and hey, where is that life jacket at? Well, it's in a bag which is zipped up and
tucked in somewhere and locked.
And it's those are those things that 5 seconds before going out on the boat, taking some time to make sure all your stuff's in good working order. Stuff gets wet in a boat, so you get maybe some mildew, and you haven't looked at device and maybe since last season, and now the straps are worn or there's a rip in it, and compromise that float integrity is going to be compromised when there's rips in life jackets and things like that.
No, that's a solid point, because we only have so many months throughout the year that we can get on a boat. Other than that, the boat and everything is put up. So it will make sense to go back and revisit that. And not to be insensitive, just to go back, when I mention the word sexy, I'm only saying that in the sense that a lot of people just don't see it as a cool thing to do. to wear a life jacket when you're out on a boat having a good time or drinking or whatever the case may be. But like we said, it may not be the most appealing thing, but it's still something that we need to be doing. When with me right here live on The Splash from Oakland County Technical Support Group Specialized Units Patrol Services Division, we have Lieutenant Brian Burwell talking about some of the unfortunate recent drownings here in Oakland County and just giving out more tips and practices for water safety. Now, let's go back to what you were talking about in regards to checking some of that equipment. Do you have any advice for families to check watercraft equipment or even safety gear before heading out to the water? Are there any like inspection events, checklists that you would recommend?
100%. And we talk about this again in that boater safety program, which is why we encourage so many people to take those courses. But, you know, right at the start of that boating season, we always tell residents, hey, take 5-10 minutes, open up all the cabinets, all the storage compartments on your boat, pull everything out. Take a good look at the beginning of the season. Certainly, if you have any questions, you can call the sheriff's office, and we can help guide people through that. But you take a good look at them, your safety equipment, and make sure, you know, everything is in good working order. The fire extinguisher is charged. You have a good first aid kit on board. You have a signaling device. The horn works in the boat. Those little things, when an emergency occurs on the lake, you're going to be way better prepared for it. You know, we talk about life jackets and you say, you know, people don't like wearing them. Well, if you're jumping off the side of a boat and you're in 80 feet of water and you can't touch the bottom, it's probably a good time to put that life jacket on. You know, if you're in a swim area that's designated and you're in knee-deep water, you may not be wearing a life jacket at that point if you're not a small child. So I think it's exercising that judgment, but understanding that, man, I'm in deep water here. If there was to be an emergency, a medical issue, things like that happen. And also knowing what to do in an emergency. Where am I at on the lake?
Good point.
Having access to a cell phone. The other important thing, too, is having a last seen marker where if something did happen to somebody in the water, you can drop a marker down real quick. That'll mark that spot. These are only a few dollars at any boating store, but so important because boats do drift. So when somebody does go under, we know exactly where to start that search because every second counts when you're talking about trying to rescue someone and save a life. So
100% agree. And that's why you have the experience, you have the expertise, and that's why you were hit on so many different perspectives that we may not even be able to recognize here. We got to let you go, Lieutenant. But lastly, if I'm not mistaken, alcohol may have been a factor in one of these drownings as well. It's the summertime, people are on boats, they're having great fun, they're enjoying themselves. So alcohol could be involved in some time. Is there any advice, tips that you would give to boaters or people out in the water who are engaging in alcohol as well?
Just be aware that it's going to affect you differently on a boat than on land. People don't understand when you're on the water, you know, the sun is beating down on you, you're consuming more alcohol than you probably would if you were on land. And just understanding moderations, that if something happens out here in an emergency situation, you're able, one, to handle it. And again, always encouraging people, take first aid CPR classes. And that way, if you do find yourself in that situation, you know what to do. But a lot of these incidents center around alcohol being a factor in these boating accidents, especially fatality accidents. And just asking people to drink in moderation. Certainly go out and enjoy the water, have a great time, but just understanding that, you know, maybe be aware of the fact that boat's moving, that motion, elements are on you, and drinking in moderation.
Yeah,
Be responsible.
No, well said, well said. And once again, our hearts and our thoughts go out to the families of these victims as well. And we just want to put this message out so anyone else watching or listening can be proactive as they go out on the water. We want to thank you again for your time and your information once again from Oakland County Technical Support Group, Specialized Units Patrol Services Division, Lieutenant Brian Burwell. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.